Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk about ArcGIS analysis using buffers. And this is a very basic concept, and that's why it's in the basic series. It's one of those tools that you come across often and you use in uh, day-to-day GIS operations, and not everyone might use it, but a lot of people do find it helpful. I know when I was going to school for GIS, it was a tool that was brought up often. So just thought I would help somebody out, if they need it. So anyway, the buffer tool, it's in the analysis tools. Uh, if you go to proximity, and this is the tool right here. So the data we're going to use for this is going to be the green spaces in the city of Toronto and the fire facilities. So uh, I downloaded this data from Open Data, Toronto website, and anybody can go to it and download the data. But it did come in WGS84, and for this purpose, and this kind of ties back to my last video about projections, we're going to convert this into NAD 83 Zone 17, which is an Ontario-based projection, which is kind of more accurate and it's plainer. It's not on a it's not a geodesic coordinate system. So here we go. We'll just convert it. If you go to Data Management Tools and you go to Projections and Transformations, then you go to Project, and you can just drop this here. And you see it says WGS84. It detected it, and we want to save it to the same with the projected last suffix. And we're just gonna pick this. I had it in my favorites because I put it there last time, but you can go here, or you can search that if you want. But just so it's faster, I just put it here. Okay, so you don't have to put anything here. You don't need a geographic transformation. So just hit OK, and it should project. And so we're going to do the same for this. And it's the same name, so it's going to be saved in the same geodatabase. We'll pick the projection. Again, you don't need this. Click OK, and then there we go. It's complete. So now that we have our data ready, we're going to open up ArcMap, and I just have it open here. And you can just simply drag and drop it in if you want. So let's just minimize the window a little bit here. You can just copy it in like this, and then drop it in like this. So what we're looking at is the fire hall, the fire facilities in the city of Toronto, and then the parks. So you can see here, we'll just make the points a little brighter, something like that. Let's make the parks a little like that. I want to stake this out border. Oof, bad color. Okay. You know what? Why don't we just do this? It makes much more sense. Okay. So these are the parks, and these are the fire halls near those parks. So what we want to do is create a buffer around the fire halls. So essentially what we're trying to do is find out the proximity of the parks to the fire halls. And there's a number of ways you can do this, and buffering is just one way. There's obviously selection tools that you can use. If you go to select by location, you can do the same thing, but there might be maps that you have to display the buffer rings and all that stuff. So for that kind of thing, this buffer tool is really handy. So you just go to this, again, analysis tools, proximity. If you don't have your Arc Toolbox open, you should go here on this button, or I think you can go here. Yeah, if you go to Geoprocessing and Arc Toolbox, it's a bit quicker. So if you double click on buffer, and the window opens. So we're just gonna drag and drop this here. It does take a little bit, but if you don't want to drag and drop, you can do this drop down here. It pretty much selects anything that's bufferable in the table of content. So we picked it, and it's going to say Fire Facility Project Buffer or Project Buffer. And now we have to pick our fields, units to buffer by. So there's two ways to do this. You can actually select a field in your data set that has a buffer field. So if every record in your feature class requires a different buffer, then you can actually do that ahead of time and say, okay, buffer the first record by 2 kilometers, buffer the second record by 10 kilometers. So you can iteratively go through it like that. But for the purpose of this, we'll just do a 1 kilometer buffer. We can pick kilometers here, or we can just enter in 1,000 here. Whichever works for you, it doesn't really matter. As long as your data sets are projected properly, or in a correct coordinate system, it really doesn't matter what you do here. So the method that we're picking is planar, and planar just means that it's going to be using the flat Earth projection system to draw your buffers. So it's taking 2 points on a flat surface. Whereas if you choose the geodesic method, it's using 2 points on a round, a 3D Earth. So for this purpose, we're using planar, and we're not going to use any dissolve type. And dissolve type means if you have, say, you have multiple parks with the same name, and you want to dissolve all that into, multiple places with the same name, like fire halls, you can dissolve that into one record. So we're not going to do any dissolve. We just want to simply put a 1,000-meter buffer around these fire stations. So we'll go ahead and do that. So it's running. There you go. So those are your buffers. It nice and circular. We won't give it a fill, but we'll give it a nice red, I guess. There you go. There's your buffers. And you know what? I think black might be good for this. There you go. So there's your buffers, and you can see they go over a lot of parks, and there's a lot of parks in Toronto. So it seems like there's a fire hall near pretty much every park. So what we can do quickly is a little operation to see how many parks are near fire stations. And we can do that simply by going to selection, and you go select by location, and you go select features from, and you want to pick features from, so you want to see which parks, so you click this, that's your target layer, and then close to the buffers, right? So you see, you want to see if any parks are intersecting your buffer whatsoever. And we just hit OK. And there you go. There's your list. There's your parks. All the parks are selected that are within a 1 kilometer buffer of your fire stations. And if you go to the attribute table on the parks, you can see there are 1,664 out of 3,629 down here that are within a 1 kilometer buffer of the parks. And that's a cool little tool in ArcGIS that you can use. So I hope you guys like this. Please give me ideas if you have any in the comments, and I'll see you next time.